All right.
Give us some hearts if you can hear us.
Yes, we want to do a quick check. Give us some hearts. As you can see, we have a full crew here. Give us some hearts if you can see it, if you can hear us.
All right.
Okay, good. You can hear us? All right, cool. So as you can see that we have a full group here. These guys don't realize that every movement that they have, you guys are seeing it. So,
My bad.
all right, but tonight we just want to continue our series on blended families, and as you can see, we are a blended family. Happy Mother's Day to you all too.
Thank you, Rose. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, and so for those of you who are new on here, just a reintroduction. Obviously, Angel and Jason, we've been married for going on 20 years now, and we've been together for 22 years. And we're doing this thing, Periscope. We have our daughter Tiara.
Hi, guys.
And our son Josiah.
Hello.
All right. And so tonight we just want to continue our conversation as it relates to blended families, because we are a blended family. Fortunately, unfortunately, however you want to take it, a lot of people don't realize that we are a blended family. They think that we're just so close and we're just, one family. We've always been together. But that's not the case. And so tonight what we want to do is, as we talk about blended families, we ask that you all invite others that have blended families. If you are a married family that's not blended, definitely invite some other families on here that are blended families, because we want them to be a part of this. And so if you can, just invite them. Definitely have them to replay it, as well as just participate in it however you need to.
This is what we have. I apologize. This is what we have going on in the millennial generation here.
Yes, they Snapchat everything. Right?
Blended. What do we mean by blended? A family where I had my daughter before I got married to my husband, and then we had a son. So that's what we mean by blended. If you have kids before you get married to your husband or your wife.
Thank you. Good. And you're bringing the two families together.
Yes.
And so we found out last week, we talked about how the statistics show that unfortunately 50% or plus of marriages fall into divorce. And so because of that high percentage of divorces, you really fall into a situation to where people get remarried. And out of those 50%, over 37% of those divorce relationships go into second marriages. And so when you have second marriages, you end up with blended families.
Yes.
And those blended families can range with children anywhere from obviously infants all the way up into teenage and maybe even to young adulthood. And so we want to discuss additionally things that we have done to help our blended family, as well as
Happy Mother's Day.
Give you guys some key points to help you all with your blended families.
Yes.
And so before we get into our family, because I know we're going to have some discussions, I want to give you guys a few key points that we identified in some of our research. So if you have a pen and paper, definitely write this down. And then once I go over these 5 points, then we'll talk about our family, because again, we don't want this just to be something that's coming from a textbook or whatever, but we want it to be something that we share our lives with you all. All right. So one thing that you should do if you are a blended family is defer to the bio parent. All right, that's step one. In our situation, I am the step parent, Angel's the bio parent. So if and whenever there are various challenges, issues, or things that may need to be dealt with, I will always defer to Angel as it relates to Tiara, because Tiara is my quote unquote stepdaughter. We never refer to each other as stepfather and stepdaughter. We always refer to each other as father and daughter.
They refer to it in the world.
But the way exactly. And so what we want to make sure is that step one is always defer to the bio parent. Number two, we want to say is that don't compete with your counterpart. All right. So when you feel like as the parent coming into the bio parent's life and also with the child, it shouldn't be a competition thing. Your job and responsibility really truly is to build the relationship with the child and not worry about, hey, I'm trying to outcompete the dad. I'm trying to outcompete, the other family. Just be yourself. Be who God called you to be. Do what you do. Do what God has called you to do, and don't be nobody else, because at the end of the day, the children of the bio parent, they want you for you.
Right.
They don't want you to be for somebody else. They want you for you. So make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. All right. Number three, is discover your stepchild's interests. All right. As a part of you building your relationship with this stepchild, make sure that you find out what their interests are. Don't try to compete. Don't try to do all these other things. Find out what their interests are and get involved. That's how you build those relationships with those individuals. All right. Number 4 is get out of the way. All right. And here's what I mean by get out of the way. Get out of the way really is all about you stepping aside and letting the bio parent and the daughter and or the child handle various key issues, concerns, or life, situations. My job at that time was really to just build a relationship with my stepdaughter in identifying her interests, building a relationship of love, building an interest in a relationship to where she can trust me and we can have a better union. Not to discipline her, not to get involved in the bio parents and her bio parents situations. My opportunity was just to get out of the way and allow them to have their time. Because what will happen is that stepchild will feel like that, okay, he's coming into our lives. Now he's in a situation to where he's stealing my mommy from me. Give them their time and be patient with it and be respectful and understanding of that.
We're from the DC metro area.
All right. Did your kids have any issues with each other?
We'll get to that.
Actually, we're going to get to that. That's a good question. So make sure you respond to that one. And then I get to the 5th thing. The 5th thing is act lovingly even if you don't feel like you like your stepkids or you feel like your stepkids like you. It's not your responsibility to make somebody like you. Okay? It's your responsibility to be the bigger person. It's your responsibility to take the high road. It's your responsibility to have self-control and discipline in the relationship.
Yeah.
You are the adult. The child is the child. Respect that. Okay? And make sure that you're not doing things that's going to cause friction amongst the family. And then be wise about it.
But we did, when we got married, we did sit down and have a meeting with her biological father to lay down some ground rules for our home. Mm-hmm. And I remember my husband telling her father, either you're going to be in her life or you're not going to be in her life. This is not a revolving door, so you can't be in and out.
Oh, sorry, can I say something?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I remember that.
So, you remember that?
Yeah. When we first became a family, before you got here.
Yes, because.
Before you got here.
Before Josiah got here.
Yeah. I wasn't confused because I spent a lot of time with him. So I always call him Dad and Jason. So I had to pick one. And because he was the dominant, most present male figure in my life, I chose the term Dad. So, he deserves it. Even now to this day. And so at that point in time, my father was a little inconsistent, so he showed up when he wanted to, broke promises when he felt like it. So he saw how that affected me, and he stood up for me being that male figure and was like, yo, look, like, you gonna be here or you not? I'm not kicking you out, but for her sake, you gotta pick one. So, and that helped a lot.
So, and that's a good point that you bring up here. So, during that time, did it make it an easy transition for you to where you knew that your biological father wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, but yet and still you found that consistency in me? Was that helpful?
I wouldn't say it was easy because even though I had this great thing going on at home, mm-hmm. the outside world didn't know. I knew that he wasn't like my real father, but they presented us as one family, and so because I'm the lightest one, clearly, it will always be that between kids like bullying me at school because I'm the lightest one. They see my mom, they'll see my dad, or my last name was different at the time, mm-hmm. so
it didn't get changed till 6th grade.
It didn't get changed to the 6th grade, so I had to deal with that. And then back then, I guess a lot of people were going through the whole divorce thing, so a lot of people. No, I'm not mixed.
She's not mixed.
I'm completely African American. So a lot of my friends had 4 families. So they had mom, stepdad, the real father, the parents. So in my mind, it's kind of like, oh, they get all these Christmas gifts. They get to go vacation here. They get to do this at their dad's house, and I didn't have that. So I think I was kind of envious and jealous of my friends because they had multiple things and I did not. So, because at the end of the day, yes, he's my father, but naturally, you always still want to have that relationship with your birth father.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
So as a result, how did you feel? Like, what were some of your feelings and emotions and your thoughts?
I now that I'm older, I can guess I felt abandoned at one point because I was just like why doesn't he like want to pick me up? Like, I know one time he was supposed to come pick me up, and I waited around the house an entire Saturday, and I was mad. So you know, it was just that type of thing. Like, why? Like, I wanted the things that my friends had, not knowing that I had a perfectly good thing. Like, I had it here, but I wanted that because that's what kids want.
Right.
And so I think even being like the step parent, you know, my job wasn't really to like fix things, but my job and responsibility was to maintain a level of consistency and to be an advocate for you. The disciplinary stuff, Angel took care of that. The issues with the biological father and everything else, Angel took care of that outside of the time that we met. And even during the time that we met together as a unit.
Yeah.
And so
but if there was a problem that I
You
had,
promoted it though. You wanted us to have a really. He really was like, you should call him. I'm like, well, why?
No, but you know, that brings up a good point because I never, as the step parent, I never pushed Tiara against her parent, her father, or even his family. I was always encouraging her to be a part of the family, to give him a second chance. Because here's what you got to understand is, at the end of the day, you call yourself a Christian, you need to act like a Christian, even in this step parenting situation. And so you got to stand up and be what God has called you to be and take the higher road because it's still ministry. And so what I was able to do was to take the higher road and to do the necessary things that it took for her to feel comfortable in our relationship and to build up that trust.
No one guided us through. This is what we did on our own through and by the guidance of Holy Spirit and having a relationship with God.
And that's why we're doing this right here, because in a lot of cases, unfortunately, there's not this handbook. There's not this advisory course that you can go to for step parenting or blended families. And so that's why we want to take the opportunity now to create something to where we can disseminate this type of information so that other families can be blessed.
I think it was easier, too, because I was young when it happened. So, because when you're young, you're able to adjust easier and better. When you're older, you're already, as a child in the family, you're already establishing like your attitude, your personality, and like, you know, it's been me and this parent for this long. How you gonna come up in the mix and all that other stuff? So at that point in time, you know, that I guess it would be different if I was older and you came in, because I'm like, who are you? Like, but because I've known you since I was like 2.
Okay, while we're here, we might as well get to Tiara's questions and let her answer her questions.
So they gave me 2 questions.
Speak louder so they can
They gave me 2 questions. How was it growing up in a household that was blended, and what effects did it have on you, if any? It was cool for a little bit. Hey, BC, that's my sister girl. That's my college sister girl.
Go ahead.
Finish.
Sorry. It was cool. I got a lot of gifts. I was into that. You know, we was living. And then he came along, and I hated his guts. And I treated him really poorly, actually. Sorry.
No, but this is a good point, because these are the things that happen in blended families, because Tiara was the only child for a while.
For 5
years. She was in a blended situation, and then Josiah decides, and then he comes along, and now she feels like what?
I just felt like, you know, he was taking away my time, like, and then also, I don't know if y'all touch on this, because we were growing up in the church, so I mean, we lived with like mama and stuff, and I went to church, but I didn't go to church like that, so him being born into it, and like I was in it.
Oh, she's speaking of before I met my husband. She's talking about her and I. We went to church, but it was different.
Like, I wasn't like born in the church.
Yeah.
Josiah came out the womb spitting scriptures. So like that was so I mean, it was more like I felt that he was kind of like the golden child for a little bit, and then like we were just two different people at that time. Yeah. So I mean, that was the only thing I could think of. I mean, I know I locked him. He loved me, and I just did not like him.
So let me ask you this.
I had no idea what was going on back then.
Right. So you came into the family